Our key expectations for this session is to ensure that participants are able to appreciate gender and diversity gaps, will be able to acquire the knowledge to avoid conscious and unconscious stereotypes that inform decision-making, leading to disadvantage and discrimination against marginalized and minority groups. And hopefully we'll acquire the skills to promote the consideration of diversity in organizations. So this is our outline, as you can see there, and we'll try and finish it within the allocated time. As we all know, there are different ways of categorizing the other, whether you are Black, whether you are white, male, female, Muslim, Christian, persons with disability, young, old, African, American, European. All these produce stereotypes, social distance assumptions that may or may not be accurate. When we move into diversity, we'll dwell on these issues more. Gender in particular also produces differentness, right? So I want us to look at these pictures that I have online. What does it tell us? Yes, anyone? So please lift your hand. What do you see and what does it tell us? Sarah.
Hi.
Or Eva, can you unmute yourself and talk?
Good afternoon. This is Sarah speaking. Hello.
Sarah, please go ahead.
Okay. I can see the picture of women in different pictures.
Sarah, I'm not hearing you.
I'm not mute either. Hello.
Can you all hear Sarah?
Yes, we can hear her.
We can hear her.
You can also type your responses in the
Okay.
Okay, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, we can hear you, Sarah.
Yes, Sarah, we can hear you.
Okay. I can see the picture of women in different pictures, a woman pounding, a woman pushing a baby troll, and also a woman, I think she's trying to feed a man in the office. So this basically talks about the gender roles given to women to multitask and also carry out house chores, including take care of the household. So that is what I see here.
Eva, can you unmute yourself and let me see if I can hear you?
Okay. Hi, Doc. Good afternoon. Please, can you hear me?
No,
Please,
I can't hear her.
Okay. Please, can anyone else hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Good
you.
afternoon. Okay.
Yes, we
Then,
can
Doc,
hear you.
Doc, it may be from your end.
I think I saw while I came online on time, I think I saw her volume reduced, so she
It
should
was
check
low.
if
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
So I think she should
Okay, Eva, can you speak? Hello, Eva, can you hear me?
Yes, Doc, I can hear you, but there's a noise. Right, it's better now. I can hear you. Please, can you hear me?
Hello. Oyali. Okay. I can patch up my member on power system. Okay.
Just drag it corner and leave it there. Whilst we go ahead. Drag it corner.
Hello, can you hear me now, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we
Okay.
can.
Yes, please.
Yes,
Doc.
we can hear you.
All right. So sorry about that.
Yeah, that's fine.
We can hear you.
Okay. All right then. So I asked about our thoughts on the picture that we see online.
Yes, please. Eva here. I put up my hand.
Please go ahead.
Yes, so in the images, I can see a woman virtually playing the role of a mother and then a caretaker or a caregiver. And then she's multitasking as well.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Any other thoughts? Deborah?
Yeah, I think the pictures were basically explaining the roles assigned to women in various forms. Like the first picture, I think she's trying to feed her family. The second picture, she's trying to do some domestic chores in the house and all. So I think it explains the roles of women in the house. Yeah.
Someone is saying that I believe visually in drawings, it could be a European woman. Okay, so let's look at our chat box. Image of a woman multitasking in activities relating to the home. Picture shows various roles of a woman multitasking. Okay. Someone also says gender. James, gender roles ascribed to a woman. Okay, let's look at the next diagrams or pictures. Is this possible in our community? Why and why not? Prince, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, I can say it is possible. Now we can see that women are now taking the center stage and they are defining the us in our modern society. You realize that we cannot have a lot of examples to give, but those women that have found themselves up there are really doing well. We cannot leave Her Excellency Sirleaf Johnson out and other women. We understand that now men are understanding the perspective of women diversity in our environment. So people are embracing it. And when you consider the World Women Day recently in my community and where I found myself, we realized that males were rather advocating for such program. So he realized that yes, it is possible. And since women are taking the center stage, I think it's possible and people are embracing into it, that women will also occupy the place of men in our modern society.
Okay, thank you very much for your submission. Any other thoughts on what we see in the pictures? James says
Yes,
it's possible.
my hand is up.
Yeah, just a minute, Tijani. James says it's possible when money is attached most times. For example, a male cook is a chef. It's possible, but not the norm. Okay. Yes, Tijani, please go ahead.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I believe, looking at what I've seen in the picture, is like the rule has changed, where the fathers will be taking the mother's role, and then the mothers also be taking the father's role. I believe it is not possible in my society, unless otherwise, maybe sharing of responsibilities, where the males, it will get to a point where the males will be helping the females or the mothers in their work, and then the mothers will also be contributing what gender has ascribed to fathers, like providing for the family. Both will be providing, and then both will also be doing house chores, and then also helping taking care of the children, like feeding them and then doing other things. But getting a society where the rule will absolutely change, where mothers become take the rules of the fathers, and then the fathers taking the rules of the father, I believe it won't be possible even in any other society. That's my submission on this. Thank you.
Okay. Any other thoughts? Sheku and Naomi, one of you, unmute yourself and talk. Amanda.
Hello.
Yeah, Naomi, please go ahead.
Yes, I am Naomi Akuku from Ghana. I think with the pictures above, it is possible. It's only possible in a situation where the woman have money more than the man. If the woman has enough and can provide more than the man would like to do everything to please the woman so that the woman can give her money. I have seen an example here where the woman's salary is more than the husband's salary. And the husband wants to, and anytime the husband asks the woman for money, it is like, before I give you, you have to do this tax before I give you. And the man also agrees to do it just because of the money. So I think it is possible. If a woman wants to get money more than men, I think we can achieve this. Thank you.
An interesting one. He says this is very rare, especially in my society, and in most instances where this is the case, it is believed that the woman or wife is controlling the husband because she is richer. It's possible, but again, society sees it differently. That encourages a lot of men and discourages a lot of men from playing such roles. I agree. I remember some years back, I took my daughter to the hospital, and then a man came in with her daughter, maybe about 10 months, come and see the nurse. Why has he brought the daughter to the hospital? Where is his wife? His wife should be the one who should be there. And the man was explaining that his wife is a banker and he does his own job, so he has flexible times. So it was easier for him to bring the daughter rather than his wife asking for permission to bring the child to the hospital. And in any case, when you take a child to the hospital, is the doctor who is going to attend to this child and decide that maybe take this medicine 1-3 times, this one twice a day, or this once a day. And so sometimes society prevents or discourages men from taking on certain roles, which they should have been able to do easily. And yes, James is saying, I totally disagree with this last submission. My brothers and husband are classical examples of international raised male folks. My mom and mother-in-law raised their boys to do this without attaching gender to this role. Doc is also saying it's very possible a man and a woman have different roles. The man can assist the wife once in a while, but that shouldn't be a routine. Anyway, we'll come back to these submissions later on because we have a lot to cover. Okay, so I think we already went through this, trying to understand what gender, the difference between gender and sex is. So we established that gender is a social construction of you being male or female, and sex is a universal biological difference between men and women. And it is characteristics that recognize someone as either male or female. And a critical distinction of gender is that they are context specific and can change according to due circumstances and then from generation to generation. So when we say it's context specific, you go to a place like India, it is the women who pay the dowry. But when you come to most West African countries, correct me if I'm wrong, I think if you look across Nigeria or Ghana or Liberia or Ivory Coast, most dowries are paid by the men. In certain countries in Africa, you see that men carry their babies at their back. In West Africa, you also see more women doing that. So a lot of things are changing. In the past, we'll say that the men are the breadwinners. So those were the days where men would leave chop money and women weren't working as much. My grandmother never worked, and I'm sure most of us generations, grandmother's era, those who are a bit older, you noted that our grandmothers were not working. But today, a lot of us women are working, and we are contributing in one way or the other to the upkeep of the family. So this is what we mean by context specific. It can change due to circumstances and then from generation to generation. Yeah, maybe for the younger, those who are younger, but for those of us whose grandparents are dead and gone, those of us who were born earlier in the 70s and some of my colleagues who were born in the 60s, most of their grandparents were not working, and most of them were also not educated. But if you take those who were born in the 90s, a lot of them have their grandmothers who are retired workers. So I'm talking of the generation before this time. So if you were born in the 80s and in the 90s, it is very likely, or even the early 2000s, it's very likely that your grandparents were working. So it has changed. But if you look at women a lot of women in the 50s, 60s, and even 70s, most of them were not working. And they were homemakers, taking care of the home, whilst the men went out to work. So it's also important to note that gender is influenced by other factors, such as wealth, class, age, race, ethnicity, religion, sexual orientations, and ideology. So you can have a woman who is maybe from an upper class in maybe a European country, and you can have a woman who is from a lower class in also a European country and may have different, entirely different experiences. So wealth has an impact, class has an impact, and even age. All these intersect in with factors that influence gender. So gender is imposed by human society, which generates some deep and far-reaching sense of inequality between our sexes. Now, we know of the SDGs, which is kind of a template that all countries and economies are trying hard to ensure that this would be achieved. So we know that particularly for this module that we are working on, the SGD5, which is gender equality, in achieving gender equality and to empower all women and girls is very critical. So under that, they want to ensure that we end discrimination against all women and girls, eliminate violence against all women and girls, eliminate all harmful practices such as child marriage, recognize and value unpaid care and domestic work, ensure that women's participation in decision-making, and then ensure universal access to sexual and reproductive rights. I know very well that most of us are familiar with this. Now, there are many situations where we see gender differences. So in politics, I'm sure if I were to ask, open up and ask for those of us from maybe Nigeria or Liberia or Ivory Coast or Ghana, if I were to ask you what percentage of women are in politics, I'm very sure that the numbers will be tilted towards men. Unless, of course, I think Rwanda is an exception where we have, I think, a comparable number of of women in their parliaments. In terms of education, particularly in Ghana, we have reached near parity at the basic level. But then it is like a pyramid. As you go up, at the base, you have an equal number of boys and girls attending school. But then as they move up to their junior high school, to the time they write their senior secondary, to when they progress to the university, to the master's level, to the PhD, you realize that it becomes a pyramid. Can you type in the comment section maybe the percentage of women in your country that you know in terms of politics, whether at the local level or at the national level or at the federal level, if you have an idea? I think in Ghana is less than 30%. I'm not sure of the number in Liberia or in Senegal or in Benin, or so if you know, you can type it in the box. So proportion of women in national parliaments, single or lower house globally in 2000 was 13.2%, but now it is 23%. So women remain underrepresented in leadership and management level positions, both in private and public sectors. While quotas have been implemented to boost women's participation in politics and corporate boards, parity is far from reality. So we see that even in management, a third of senior and middle level positions are held by women. 39% of countries worldwide have some form of quotas system to increase women's representation in politics. 47 of world business leaders say they are in favor of gender quotas on corporate boards, but we are yet to see that being translated. So Zinab has posted, I think a few people have posted 35% in Nigeria, Sierra Leone, less than 30%. I think somebody wrote in Ghana, 30%. Okay. Wow, in Gambia, women in politics in Gambia only constitutes 10%. Now, somebody has stated that in traditional setting, my community, it's very impossible for men to play such roles because they think women are obliged to do so. Whereas in modern setting, it's possible due to mindset and exposure of the man. So for us, it is in two folds. Thank you for that dimension. Okay. So I have this picture here. What does this tell us? Please unmute yourself and talk. You can also type in the comment section. What does this picture depict? Anyone? Yes, Tijani, you unmuted. Please go ahead.
Okay,
Tijani,
thank you
go
for
ahead.
thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah.
The first picture, which talks about equality, talks about giving people the same opportunity.
Okay.
As we see in the picture. Regardless of your abilities, what you can do and then what you cannot do. If you have 3 children attending school, you give everybody 10 pesos, or let's take it maybe $1. Not considering that this one can eat more than this, or this one has grown more than this, and then this one needs more energy than this. So in that case, we see you are being equal, as we see in the first image. And then the second image, we consider different characteristics of people, and then we give them opportunity, or we treat them as such.
Okay.
Using the same scenario, if you have 3 children, if you want to give them chop money, you consider the energy expenditure of each child. For say, one child maybe can spend a food of $2, and then another can spend $3, and then another one can spend $1. Instead of giving all of them, treat them equally by giving them $1. You give all of 1 tray, 1, 2, and then the other one. As we see in the second picture, when they are looking at the, how do you call it? When you are looking on the field, the one is short, the other is follows, and then followed by the tallest. Being equity with them, the one that is the shortest has been given
oh, you are breaking off.
Food to stand was given 1 food. Can you? Hello?
Yeah, you are breaking off. Can you repeat your last sentence?
Please, can you hear me?
Yeah, please go ahead. You were breaking off.
So my last statement was what I was saying about what is in the picture. The shortest child has been given 2 food to stand on, to be able to see what is going on the field. And then the second child has been given 1 food, because that is what will help him to be able to watch the on the field. And then the third child has not been given anything, because as he stands, he'll be able to look on the field. And then that is equity. And then the one that we treated equally, because this was short, you won't be able to see on the field, though they have been treated equally, but still some are at a disadvantage. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Adipo, can you please unmute yourself if you have anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, he said it, but this picture is about equality and equity.
Sure.
I mean, yeah, equality, like you said, equality doesn't mean justice. I mean, we have to be fair. We have to look at situations and based on certain aspects or characteristics, make a decision that is fair and equitable to everybody.
Okay.
Yeah. So
all right.
that's
okay. Thank you so much. I think you have said it all. So we have to note that equality does not always mean justice. When you are creating equal opportunities, you also have to look out for the individual needs of the people who are involved. So we say that it's important that we recognize differences and barriers whenever we are coming up with any intervention. What does this track tell us? Those of us who are athletes, what does this track tell us? You see that there are different markings. Yes, Omar. Omar, please unmute yourself.
Hello, everyone.
Yes.
Basically,
Hi.
I mean, I raised my hand for the past question, not the current one, so I can't really, because I'm not an athlete. I have no.
Okay. Tell us
of
what you wanted to say.
Okay, so basically, when it comes to global politics, when it comes to the gyms that are actually being introduced lately, we learned that many people are focusing so much on equality and not focusing on equity. That is why, when it is brought down to the African level, we have many people out there who are actually advocating for the same rights, for equality, but they have no idea of what they are talking about. Usually it's because of, what I tell people here. I'm actually working at this advocacy group, yeah, but normally when we sit and talk, this is always the trend, yeah. You're given money, you spend it in a way you're asked to spend it, and not having to grasp the knowledge that you need before you go out there to tell the people what you want to tell them. Here we are only focused on everybody should have equal rights, equal rights, equal rights, equal this and equal that. But we are not focused on the fact that some things coming in a form of equality can be hurtful. It cannot, it can also be something that doesn't suffice everybody. So it's equity that humanity should much be paying attention to than equality. Because if imagine just like the example the other guy gave, if a person should look, if I have two kids, one is going to, in my country here, one is going to Banjul and the other one is going to Westfield, I cannot give each of them $10 because that means the other one is not going to reach, right? Only one of them is going to reach to his destination. So there you give them what they need, but not equate them on what you give the other, something like that.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so why do we have different tracks on the racing field? Anyone? Yes, Tijani.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm not an athlete, but looking at using my own imagination, when you look at the tracks of the dimension of the tracks, one is the one that is closer to the field is usually short when everybody is going to start at the same line, when the line has been cut at the same place. The one that is closer to the field will have a shorter distance to cover than somebody who is far distance on the sideways to the other. So cutting the track lines, you see that the ones that is far from the center field will move further than the one that is closer to the field to ensure equity, so that nobody runs more than the other during the race. Thank you.
All right then. So recognizing differences is key. So the one in the first lane would have an easier maneuvering than the one in the 8th. So they arrange it in such a way that everyone has an equal opportunity to be able to race on that track. Now, I want us to open the discussion here briefly. So what assumptions and values related to being male or female or minority in your society are you most proud of and makes you valued, and why? And what assumptions related to being male or female or minority in your society do you most dislike? And what makes you feel undervalued and why? And which of these would you like to change? Please, let us go very straight to the point without repeating ourselves or going round. So reflect on this. I remember in one of my cohorts, one of the participants from Nigeria said that she wanted to go and rent an apartment in one of the states, and she was told that she needed to bring a male to help with the lease or something. And that's something that she didn't value, being a female. I don't know if that is the case. So can we have some, Emmanuel, let's hear what you have to say. Emmanuel, please go ahead.
Hello, yeah. Let me start with the second. What make me to feel undervalued is me paying my price.
Okay, it's fair enough. Yes.
Yes, that's one. We have to pay. We have always to spend money when it comes in terms of marriage, and we have to endure the worst. I'm in finance and also taking care of the home in Africa, and also it's only now that we are seeing female are trying to at least bring it to the equal terms. And what makes me to be a proud, also in our family, you being a male child in your family, they will respect you a lot. In Africa, that sometimes make me feel, at least give me some ego that I'm a male child. Yeah.
Okay, that's a fair. Okay, all right then. Eva.
Yes, Doc. One of the assumptions or values that I don't dislike, especially in a typical Ghanaian society, is when a woman mans a big office or a big portfolio, say you're a director of a certain organization. Sometimes because women are ascribed as being emotional, sometimes you are taking a decision or you are being firm on an issue, and then you would hear your male colleagues or your male subordinates or employees saying that, as usual, she's been emotional. As usual, she's been emotional. This simple thing. So every single time you are taking a decision in a certain high office, and just because you are a woman, you are emotional. But a man or a male assumes the same office, takes same decision, and he is the one being strong. He's the one being man as usual. So that's one of the things I dislike. Thank you.
Yeah, someone says she's at that time of the month, rightly so. Okay,
Yeah,
Success.
yeah.
Success, let's hear from you. Can you unmute yourself and talk? Success.
Okay, thank you.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, so for me, I would go straight to the home. What I don't like, and I'll use myself as a mother. In our African setting, it is assumed that taking care of a child is solely for the mother. So the father is just to bring the money. But then the stress of motherhood is not something one person should handle alone. So that is what I would like to change. Then talking about what I like about being female is the ability to multitask. So again, in the home, I can be cooking and doing some cleaning here and there, and taking care of one or two other things. But my husband cannot do that. If he's cooking, he has to finish cooking before he goes on to the next task. And also, I think I like that I can multitask. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Grace, can I hear from you? I'm picking on those who haven't haven't heard their voice. Grace, please unmute and talk. Grace. Moba, be ready. Willie. Oh, Grace, your connection is not stable. Can you type it? Grace, your connection is very erratic.
Okay, one of the things I value as being a woman. Okay.
Go ahead, I can hear you. Okay, Willie. Willie, can you please talk? Unmute yourself, Willie.
Hello?
Yeah,
Am I
Willie,
clear?
please go ahead.
Okay, so one of the things I dislike about society mostly in Liberia is we always assume that women do not give men lift. For whatever reason, yeah, I've not gotten over it. And then another point about what I assume and my assumption and value about being a male is for every time I try applying for a position or applying for, it could be a scholarship, we usually say mostly female. So at times I usually shake my head and be wondering, I say, wow. Yeah, so that's my thing.
Okay. Somebody has put in there in Igbo land, women are not considered to have children when she has an only girl. The ability to coordinate a lot of things at the same time makes being a woman interesting. When we're growing up, when somebody gives birth to a boy, you give birth and somebody asks, did the person give birth to a human being? So the human being is a boy. And it's like if you give birth to a girl, I mean, it's not considered as important. Yeah, so please let's be reading what's on this on the chat. What I hate is the domineering effect of unhealthy manhood. I'd like to change the status quo by balancing roles between men and women play. Teach both skills like cooking, cleaning, etc. Basic life skills that need to be learned for survival and not gender cast. The need for men to be supportive of women and vice versa. Okay, let's hear from Michael and then we will move on.
Hello, can you please hear me?
Yeah, please go ahead, Michael.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'll go straight to what I dislike. Is that men in general are not taken seriously for our mental health, for what we go through in society. In most often, we are seen to be or supposed to be strong people. Whatever happens in society, it doesn't concern anybody. It's always about the women, how women feel, what women must gain, the positive type of women and negative type of women. Men are hardly looked at. So at most times, the pressures on men in society are never understood and looked at. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, so let's move on. We'll come back to the discussions again. All right, I want us to briefly touch on gender analysis. In fact, this is a major topic which requires more time, but I just wanted to touch on just an intro bit. So gender analysis is recommended as a way to understand the differential situation of women and men. And it also provides the basis of gender mainstreaming, ensure that gender is considered in or integrated in everything that is done in the community, in the organization, in the nation. Okay, so we say that it's that gender analysis is a systematic process used to highlight the differences between women, men, girls, boys in terms of distribution of power, privileges, resources, and limitations in a particular context. So who does what? That is where you start. So you highlight the differences between them, and then you look at what power, what privileges, what resources and limitations are available. And this is very important when you are going to embark on a project in a particular community. I think I went for a conference somewhere where it was said that in a community, a development organization went there and said that the girls walk too long a distance to get to school. So they provided bicycles for the girls and left the boys. So what do you think happened? The boys also started, they decided that they were not going to attend school. So maybe a better way would have been to think of, would it be wise to build a school in approximate distance for the children in the community, so that both men and women or girls and boys would benefit from this. Because if you don't take into consideration their peculiar needs, you may cause a reverse of what you actually wanted to embark on in the community. It also provides information on gender differences in relation to their division of labor, roles and responsibilities, relative conditions of living and positions in society. And it also looks at how gender is expressed in a particular context, including norms relating to sexuality and then identity. So this is a brief chart of how gender analysis is done. So you identify how you look at the integration of gender equality, you target gender activities, and then you have a dialogue on being gender aware, and it will produce the desired result. Obviously, it won't be a perfect 100%, but at least there will be some improvements in whatever is being done. So when do you conduct gender analysis? You have to do it at every step of the way. So the moment you conceive the idea, whether it's a policy, a program, or project, you have to ensure that you conduct a gender analysis when you are planning the program, when you are implementing it, and when you are evaluating it, to ensure that there is a balance, whether you are thinking more of boys, because a lot of attention has been paid to girls. If you go along the coasts, I can speak for the case of Ghana, and I think in other West African countries, more boys prefer, along the coastal belts, prefer to go fishing instead of going to school, because they think that it is more lucrative. You can get more money fishing than going to school, because too much emphasis was placed on the girl child going to school. So we really have to ensure that we integrate the needs of both boys and girls, men and women in any projects that we decide to embark on. So earlier on, we said that gender analysis becomes a basis for gender mainstreaming, and ECOSOC defines as the process of assessing the implications of women and men of any planned action, including legislation, policies or programs in all areas and at all levels. It is a strategy of making women as well as men's concerns and experiences an integral dimension of the design, implementation, monitoring and evaluation of policies and programs in all political, economic, and societal spheres, so that women and men benefit equally and inequality is not perpetuated. So if you're an organization and you are looking at policies, so now most organizations would have a paternity leave policy and a maternity leave policy. Obviously, it won't be the same duration, but there is some time that is allocated for men to support their wives when they give birth. I see some interesting submissions going on in the chat. So if you have a chance, read through. Somebody says, I'm happy that I don't have to give birth. The saying goes, men don't cry, but indeed men cry. I'm sure if a tiger, if we're in a classroom, a tiger showed up, you think that the men will stay. We'll all run out. Maybe we'll find one or two brave ones who will stand out. So we all have emotions. So we have to try as much as possible to be conscious about the way we put people in a box, whether male or female, whether white or black, etc. So MOSA presents a gender mainstreaming strategy. So the goal of most gender mainstreaming strategy is gender equality, and they have a twin track gender strategy. The first one is integration of women and men's concerns in all policies and projects to ensure equality. And then there are specific activities that are aimed at empowering women. So when you go into many communities, you see this corporate societies, because for some communities, when maybe your husband dies, you don't inherit the land, but maybe your husband's nephew or your husband's brother would inherit the land. You may not even have a collateral to go for a loan. But then now you realize, so these cooperatives helps women to get some capital, and a lot of women are learning other skills and trades to give them alternative livelihoods should the main one be dissolved or be destroyed. So we move on to gender and diversity. And this book, Inclusion, it says that many cultures contribute to the richness of our world community. Just as every culture has time-honored traditions that make its heritage unique, each one of us has individual qualities and characteristics that makes us special. Let us learn more of one another. In knowledge, there's understanding. Where there's understanding, there is respect. And where there is respect, growth is possible. So when you learn from one another, you understand why certain things are being done. Because in knowledge, you get the understanding. And where there is understanding, you will respect people. And then where there's respect, growth is possible. Now, I want us to do this brief activity. You can type it in the box where you, who am I? So state things, 4 things that describe you. Let me give you a minute to reflect on that. State 4 things that describes you. So I would say that I am female, I am a Ghanaian, I'm a mother, and I'm a Christian. So think of how you want to describe yourself. 4 things that describes you. So let's type it into the chat, and then I'll open it up for a few of us to tell us how they describe themselves. Wow, Deborah, I felt bad growing up as the only female and the last child of the family, having 3 elder brothers. I would wash my elder brother's clothing and use it to while away the time while she leaves my own out. My mother, wow. And she'd tell me I'm female. My worldview growing up was quite different in that I hail from a culture that gives pride of place to women. It has a matriarchy and maternal succession system in place. It's pretty common to see homes run by women. Though we have funds in place, there's a maternal arm of traditional government as well as a paternal one. Interesting. Okay. So let's describe how, type how we describe ourselves. 4 things. Okay, I see them coming. I'm a young lady Muslim Gambian journalist. I'm a female Nigerian passionate about education. I'm a Ghanaian entrepreneur who's a husband and a father. Cameroonian. Let's keep it coming. Beautiful woman. I'm intelligent, free-spirited woman. I'm Ghanaian. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a preacher of the gospel. I'm an author. Okay, let's open it up. Amanda, how do you describe yourself? Your hand is up. Or Heritage, you wanted to say something?
Okay, I think my hand was up for the previous question.
Okay. All right.
Yes, but let me just go anyway.
How do you describe yourself?
Okay, so I describe myself as an intelligent female. I'm a Ghanaian. I'm a patriotic Ghanaian. Let me put it that way because I like to protect state properties and look out for the state interest. And I'm caring, and I'm an aspiring entrepreneur.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Yes, Doc. Let's hear how you describe yourself.
Thank you, Doc. Greetings, everyone.
Greetings.
I'm a male Cameroonian, an entrepreneur, a peace ambassador, and a legal guru.
Okay. Yes, Asaba. Asaba, can you hear? Please go ahead. We can't hear you. Go ahead. We can't hear you. Okay, Manuel, please go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, you can hear you. Go ahead.
I'm a Sierra
Are you
Leonean,
getting me?
Please hold on, Asaba.
humanitarian.
Let Emmanuel finish. Emmanuel, please start.
I'm
Are
a
you
Sierra
there?
Leonean. Yeah, I'm here. I'm a Sierra Leonean, a humanitarian, a teacher, an entrepreneur,
Okay.
and also a researcher. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Asaba, please go ahead. Someone, heritage, feminist, Christian, change maker, ambitious. Alhaji Sadigu, a Sierra Leonean male Muslim leader, husband, and father. I'm God's creation. I'm a Cameroonian. I'm an environmental change maker. I'm a visionary. I'm a man, a Muslim, Gambian, and a writer. I'm Ivorian, passionate about volunteering, very intelligent, a young entrepreneur. Yes, Osho, please share how you describe yourself.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I am a mother, a Christian, an entrepreneur, and an aspiring trichologist.
Okay. Who else? Sheku. Sheku. Idema or Edema?
Edema.
Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead. Okay. Let's hear. Yeah, please, Alima. Alima, go ahead.
I can say carriages and a smart girl. I am Ivorian and I'm a volunteer.
Okay. All right then. So if you look at the charts, you see that there are varied descriptions. What does this tell you? What does this tell us?
Can I say something?
Yes, Omar.
Yeah, this tells me one thing: diversity. That's the heading of
diversity.
Yeah, diversity.
We are all different, right? We may intersect at certain places, maybe in nationality, in occupation, maybe our religion, right? But you realize that we are all diverse, okay? So when we talk of diversity, we look at age, how different we are: age, gender, socioeconomic status, religion, sexual orientation, disability, culture, race, or ethnicity. I want us to watch this short video on what diversity is, and then we'll come back and comment. Okay. Any thoughts? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Any thoughts, please?
Yeah, you dog.
Any thoughts? We can type in the chat. Any thoughts? Any reflections? Yes, Andong.
Okay, from the video we just watched, I noticed that we have personalities from different backgrounds, different ethnic groups, tribe, religion, and what have you. But then I realized that or how do I put it? I realized that diversity is all about people from different places, different nations, different tribe, different status, but our ability to accept them and respect them for who they are is what makes us unique. Is what makes us how can I put it? Is what proves us how can I put it? Sorry, I really lost the word. Because when I watched the video, I realized that people are from different backgrounds, different religion, and other different places. But now, what is unique about them is the fact that they are accepted as one, and also they are respected in the same manner.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Anyone else, please? You can also type in the chats. Okay. So we note that dimensions of diversity may be hidden or visible. So you may not know if I have a disability in me, or you may not even know my religious background when you see me, but for some religions, it will be obvious when you see them that, oh, maybe this is of this religion or not. Now, dimensions of diversity are found within groups as well as within individuals. Dimensions of diversity are not always clear-cut or easily defined. Dimensions of diversity are in a constant state of flux, and then they also interrelate. And if you look at our charts, you see that there are some interrelations of the way people describe themselves, although there are also visible things that we may even be able to identify in someone else. Stephen says diversity is a celebration of our differences and uniqueness. And he's recommended the book Dignity in Diversity that appraises our differences and our dignity in our difference. Now, let's do this short activity. What do you know or what have you heard about teenagers? Anyone? Just type. What do you know or heard about teenagers? You can use one word. Anyone? Show your hand and unmute yourself, or I'll start calling someone I haven't even heard from today. Yes, Prince, go ahead.
Very aggressive.
Okay. Yes, Catholics. Go ahead and type. Jews or Arabs? What do we know about Catholics? What do we know about Muslims, West Africans, wealthy people? Anyone? Yes, Omar. Pick any one of them and speak to it. Omar.
Okay, so I was basically thinking of what adjective to give the teenagers here, but when I looked at the chat box and I saw a person commented reckless, I think it's Aishad Abdul Majid, something like that.
Okay.
Reckless. That is the right word for teenagers. Reckless.
Okay. Pick anyone. We have Catholics, we have Jews, Muslims, West Africans, poor people. Somebody in the other cohort, somebody said poor people are proud. But you find poor people who are humble. Yes, Amanda, please unmute and talk. Amanda.
Yes, Doc. Thank you very much. I mean, I think Catholics are generally disciplined people.
Okay.
Mainly because of their doctrines and what goes on in their church and how they have to be on time, how they have to respect every single process that goes on in the church. Yeah, I believe that Catholics are disciplined people, even with the priest as clear example. Yeah.
Okay. All right then. Yes, Conira. Okay, somebody says worldly people are greedy, Jews are strict. Yes, anyone? Michael, just unmute yourself.
Mrs. Konina, for teenagers, they are stubborn.
They are stubborn.
Sometimes rude. For Catholics, Catholics are sometimes known for their doctrine, they are calm, they are known for their lay down rules. Everything about them is lay down rules.
Okay, Mali.
Yeah, hello?
Yeah, Mali.
Doc, you called me Michael.
Yeah, Mali, I'm here.
Yes, what do you know or heard about? Pick one and describe.
Yeah, people with HIV/AIDS. Yeah, what I used to hear about them from when this disease came up, they are the what sinners, they are going to hell, they are prostitutes, they are all this manner of things, and then stigmatization. You don't live with them in the same room, you don't live with them in the same house, you don't even share utensils with them, you just ignore them like that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the many comments, the things that you have said, are they facts or stereotypes?
Some might be fact, some might be stereotype, but majority are stereotype.
So where did they come from?
They come from within us, from ourselves.
From ourselves? Okay.
Yeah.
And sometimes the media.
Yeah, media, yeah.
And then what else? Sometimes our experiences. Michael or Oluwasan, did you want to say something?
Oh yes, Oluwaseun.
Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, so I wanted to say for teenagers, I wanted to say the troublesome. For Catholics, they are disciplined, very disciplined. For Muslims, they are, I think Muslims are rigid. That's my opinion. And then for Jews, I think Jews are very strict.
Okay.
HIV, if I'm to associate HIV, I associate it with, it's not supposed to be so, but stigma.
Okay, stigma. Okay.
Thank you.
So you realize that many of the things that we say, some are facts, some are stereotypes, and it could be from my experiences, from what you have observed, what the media says, and it's also from us. So we really need to be mindful. If you look at the definition that we gave about diversity, we said that in knowledge, there is understanding. Where there is understanding, there is respect. And where there is respect, growth is possible. So let us try and get the right knowledge about these kinds of people. So finally, we are going to finish off with leadership. Leadership is about having a clear vision based on core values and beliefs. Leaders must have conviction, drive, commitment to empower others to work towards the achievement of their vision. Leaders must not falter in the face of difficulties. They must have self-reliance to persevere with resilience and tenacity to withstand setbacks, disappointments, and failure, and to lift and carry their people through disappointments and to progress towards success. These are the true strengths of leadership. Okay, so as you know, there are some specific attributes. There are some specific, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay,
Yeah,
all
yes,
right.
please. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Nana, for drawing my attention. So there are some specific attributes that have been designated as feminine or masculine. Attributes such as cooperative, interpersonal, participatory, and relationship-oriented are associated with female leadership. Now, male leadership is, however, associated with task-oriented, competitiveness, domination, and self-confidence. Why is this so? Why is this so? Yes, Prince.
I think women are seen as emotional beings who
Go ahead. Prince, go ahead. Prince. Oh, we lost him.
I shouldn't even take myself. So they want one.
Prince.
Sorry, Prince just left.
Okay. Yeah. Yaira. Yaira, I haven't heard your voice. Yaira, please, can you go ahead?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hi, Dr. Tina.
Hi.
So I think that it is so because in our traditional society, we have certain roles for men and we have certain roles for women. And a man is seen as the leader. A man is seen as strong. By strong, I mean showing no form of weaknesses, be it physically, mentally. So when a man takes on a leadership position, he is seen as supposed to be on top of things and move things. But a woman's place in society, efforts in society is to be submissive and listen to instructions. So when she is in a leadership position, there is the pressure of not only doing more, but there is also the pressure of having the people you're I don't want to say subordinates, having the people you work with respect you first so that everything goes on smoothly. And then that is the reason. So for this, well, I'm going to stand on the sake of respect for that. There is the need to build relationship. You want them to understand that you understand their needs and you understand and you care for them. So then in turn, you're able to work better with them.
Okay.
It's just my 2 cents.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Michael. No, Heritage. Let's hear from Heritage. I don't think we've heard from Heritage today. Heritage, can we hear you, please?
Okay, thank you. I was just going to say that I think most of the time as well, women are exposed to, or we are given access to more jobs that have to do with cooperative efforts and, basically having to listen to people and collaborate with others. So maybe that's why we have more of that cooperative environment compared to men who most of the time are, they are given the full authority and power almost immediately they get into the job, while women have to do more of the asking questions, meeting with people, getting mentors before they get to that safe point. Yes.
Okay. All right then. So there are several leadership styles, but I decided to focus on these three: the autocratic, where you give instructions, do it. I mean, you don't have any room for negotiation or discussion. And then with the laissez-faire, you leave it to the group, do X or Y as you see fit. And then the democratic, you solicit their opinion, which is best, S or Y. Which of, are there any particular leadership styles that are associated with male or female, autocratic, laissez-faire, democratic? Umar, your hand is up.
Yes, I wanted to come in even I think from the last slide to this one.
Oh,
is
okay.
that okay?
Yeah, but briefly,
Yeah, so,
please.
Yeah, no problem. So basically, psychology, I think I haven't so much delved into it, but just learning the surface, psychology proves that men are so much interested in things and women are interested in people. So that defines our role in society, basically. And this is not just some theory psychology had to put forth. It's a scientific proof that's been proven, I think lately, in fact, proven by some psychologists. So that shows our role in society as men and women. We play different roles. Most of the time it is said that men are allowed to go and fetch for the family, fend for the living expenses and stuff like that, and women take care of the kids and people that are there. But what is our definition of catering for the family? Yeah, what is our definition of, if all of us had to do the same thing, who would be there? Who would be, would there be any room to take care of the kids as they need to? Would there be a room for bringing our social and economic needs as yearned? So those became a problem. So when it comes to the leadership styles, I may say men would occupy all of them. Some men are democratic, some are laissez-faire, some are autocratic. But when it comes to women, most of the time, they're either laissez-faire or democratic. They barely are dictatorial, barely. They barely are autocratic.
Okay. Thank you very much for your submission. Yes, Adepo.
Adepo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
I think we in my community or around me, at least what I've heard a lot and what I've experienced is that women are autocratic in their position as leaders. In terms of because society, I mean, we know about this whole difference and those stereotypes about women leading and stuff. So in order to fight against men's power and stuff like that, they become really autocratic. I mean, it doesn't mean that guys are not autocratic as well, but yeah, we see more of autocratic women here.
Okay.
In terms of, but if I want to say my thought is not, I mean, nothing should be assigned to one person. It depends on each one, on their personality, their traits, their experience of life, and the environment in which they work. Either or you're a woman or man, all these apply to to all gender or sex, I would say.
Okay. Thank you very much. Sarah, did you have something to add? Sarah?
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Yes, I would say, because it is a general, I would say it's more or less like stereotyping and believing that women are more democratic and men are more autocratic. Like in our communities today, if women are autocratic, they are seen as wicked women. Yes, but when a man is autocratic, there is seen as carrying out his responsibility, while a woman becomes wicked because she's autocratic. I know I have I had one challenge sometime when I went to a particular house with my team, and I was about speaking, and the man who I was speaking with shut me out and said, "Why should I be speaking when there are men here?"
Wow.
So you see, this is what the community see, or the people, the society sees, that women are supposed to be women are not supposed to be outspoken. Women are not supposed to
hold offices. Women are not supposed to be autocratic or even democratic. They even wouldn't, or diplomatic. They wouldn't even want them to be that way. So it's the community, the society, and the stereotypes that makes this makes everybody sees that women cannot carry or women cannot exercise certain types or forms of leadership.
Okay. All right then. Odeyemi.
Thank you very much for the privilege, Ma. I just want to add to what Sarah Nathaniel just said, sharing my own experience as regards what she said. As I earlier said, I'm a politician, yes, and I'm a youth leader in my state to a reputable political party as Labour Party. While we had a stakeholder meeting with my gubernatorial candidates of my state, currently Nigeria is ongoing with our general election. While we were talking, I decided to talk. He shut me up, and in his quoting his speech, he said, "Is." I had to checkmate him. I said, "Don't talk to me in that regard. I wouldn't appreciate you referring to me in that manner. Would you please apologize?" People were shocked because, as Muslims here in the North Central, we don't believe in a female talking or even holding power or being in a position of power. And ever since I checkmated him, okay, at that stand, he said, "Oh, I'm sorry. Can we continue?" I said, "Apology accepted. Now we can move ahead." Everyone was shocked, it was written all over their faces. And ever since then, they gave me my regard and my respect. And even all the youth under me started respecting me more because they understand the fact that I am not a taker of nonsense. I'm a no-nonsense person. And that didn't even make me an autocratic leader. They see me as a democratic person, but I don't take nonsense at the same time. So I laid the rules straight, and if they don't want to give me my respect, I command it where need be. Thank you, Ma.
Thank you very much. Can we hear from Dr. Yawat?
Yes. Good evening to all.
Good evening.
Yeah. The type of leadership here, if we want to put in practice in my own locality, the type of gender here will vary from the marital statute. I'll quote one example for a woman. Let's take one example. If a woman is single and she found herself in a leadership position, she will like practice a certain type of leadership that would have a tendency to autocratic leadership. She will even forget the aspect that she's a female, and she will like more commanding people even more than men. So at a certain moment, a woman is very susceptible to practice all these type of leaderships.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. So as we continue the discussion, we are wrapping up now. I want us to, when we leave here, of course, the discussion will continue. I want you to think of a diversity or gender-related issue in your community organization that you want to change. Describe the present situation, state the desired situation in the form of a goal, identify the conditions, people, or things that may help you or hinder you move towards your desired situation. Think of laws, organizational structure, rules, procedures, and personal attitudes. Identify actions you will take to ensure that the desired change will take place. The last cohort who came in person, they had very interesting presentations to make. People talked about breast pressing. In which country was that? Was it Senegal? Or I've forgotten which, but it's a West African country. And in fact, people came up with very interesting submissions. So I want us to reflect on some of these things as we move back into our own spaces to think of the change that we can make. Can we think of any one or two just offhand, not into detail? You can just mention the issue and then maybe just give us a brief synopsis and then we'll go. Sheku, I know your hand was up earlier. Let's hear what you have to say. Prince or Zainab. You can also type in the comment section if you have. Yes, Prince, go ahead. Please, briefly.
Yeah, I want to ask, there's a common trend on social media. I want to say this in respect to gender and women in particular. You realize that as we mentioned in this issue concerning gender, it appears that men are rather putting women at a tight corner. And the book I read, Manipulated Man, realized that it was a book by a woman that she really delved much into issue concerning a man and a woman growing and men developing their talent and women channeling their energy to other stuff. I want to ask, considering what is going on social media, and it appears that most women in Africa are always dancing online. Do we see this as a disturbing trend and could jeopardize the energy and the effort we are putting in bringing women and men at par?
You say you find them always dancing,
shaking their butt, and the rest. Young girls and women.
What do we have to say?
So I'm asking, do you see it as a trend? I am not saying that women shouldn't have fun, but don't you think that it could jeopardize our effort of bringing men and women at par?
That's a discussion for all of us to react to. Heritage, let's hear what you have to say.
Okay, I just wanted to address what he said in relation to what I put in the chat about we have a frame or a perspective of looking at women or men, and I think that's why we have trainings like this to change perspectives like that. We do not need to fit into a box before we are seen as leaders. We do not need to speak at the top of our voices or not smile or not dance on Instagram or, whatever we're thinking. I think that's always the problem. The fact that the word leadership has been misconstrued in different contexts. A lot of people see leaders in a certain light, which is mostly related to the male gender. And I think that needs to change.
Okay. All right then. Thank you. Ellie, I haven't heard from you.
I just want to. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you. I just want to say something briefly about what the previous speaker said about women dancing and all. I think everybody should have the right to express themselves anyhow they feel is best. That should not be the reason. When I say we, I'm referring to especially men. We stifle that shouldn't be the reason we get in the way of women empowerment or equity, because nobody gets up to question what men do, whether it is right or wrong.
Yeah.
And so we as men must be at the forefront and must be advocating even more than the women, because fact of the matter is that there's so much they have to give. And so it is in all of our interest that we ensure that we all have the same right to power and access to opportunities. And so just to summarize, it is not in our interest that women continue to stay where they are. I mean, it's not in anybody's interest. And so whether they are dancing or they are not dancing, that should not be our focus at all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very insightful. Samuel.
Yes, please.
I'm going to call on those I haven't heard from. Yeah, Samuel, please go ahead.
Okay, so what I'll say to this is similar. It's similar to what my brother just stated. I think we should not lose sight of what is really important here. I think Dr. Akono, you mentioned early on about the boys around the sea being interested in going to fish rather than going to school, because we did a whole campaign around send your girl child to school, right? I think as we move on, it should not be about send your girl child to school, send your boy child to school, send your child to school, period. Because every child must go to school. And so we must push for that gender balance and that equal opportunity for both male, female, so that we don't create the impression that one is superior to the other. And so, in that sense, everyone should have equal right to do whatever they want to do. If the ladies want to go on and dance, that's they are free to do that. They own their own phone. They can do whatever it is they want to do. Once the person is an adult, I believe they know what the cultural nuances are with respect to what is acceptable within their culture and what is not, and they are able to determine what is good and what is bad. And so, if someone decides to go on social media and dance, that's their choice, but that should not guide the decision that we on the other side make about where their position should be in life in terms of whether it is we will treat them better or not. It should not affect the balance that there should be, and it should not. The fact that someone is dancing on social media does not, you should not misconstrue that to mean that the person is wayward, or you should not misconstrue that to mean that the person should not have equal rights or responsibilities as any other person. And so we should allow that freedom. Shaking shaking your bum bum or dancing on social media, that's their choice, but that should not change our view on balance. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Akuna. I'm done.
Dr. Tina, if I may say something.
Hello, Doc. If you're talking, you're muted.
I think it's the
Sorry.
network.
Thank you very much, Samuel, for the insightful submission. Thank you. Dr. Perfila, I was calling your name, but I was muted. Please go ahead.
Okay, doctor. I just want to comment a bit just to I'm not contradicting what the last speaker just said, but I want to say that we are not being judgmental, but I think we also owe a duty to society to educate ourselves. Some of us may be behaving or dancing or doing certain things that probably we think that is right, but I think that we always need people around us that will have to tell us that, see, hey, what you're doing, maybe we'll have to give a contrary view to the public and so on, and it will help better shape your life and then shape your leadership skills. So I think that it's important also to point out certain things, and we as leaders, our actions also should reflect our being and also educate the society. It's true that these things are becoming rampant on social media, but I think we as leaders too, we need to see how to shape the future of the country we are trying to build. So that's why I think that is very important to also caution. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. You see, so these submissions that you are coming up with goes back to this project that I want you to personally be interested in. Thinking of a diversity or gender related issue in your community that you want to change. Okay, so I think this is a project that you personally would have to undertake to kind of educate and correct some of the things that goes on in our society. Jeremiah, are you still on? Okay, I think we just have one or two. I want to give the opportunity. Aishat, I think I haven't heard your voice. Aishat.
Okay, good evening, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity. Okay, so while I consider myself like a very principled person in terms of how I present myself on social media, I think it's actually quite worrisome when you hear, okay, African women this, African women that on social media. And it's not really like a general thing. Like if you want to address the issue at all, it should come from like a world or global perspective that, okay, women generally, that's first. And secondly, I also find it quite funny that while some of these people that actually believe that, okay, it's wrong to like portray yourself in this way on social media, they really don't address A-star list entertainers this way. I mean, I would not really want to mention names here, but some of these entertainers are some that occupy like really high positions, like ambassador of, WHO, United Nations, and they do like the same thing. So why are we not addressing it from these people we consider ambassadors? Like, why not start from them if this is really an issue in tackling like equality problem? But then we just limit it to like a class of people, like the lower socioeconomic class people, not those at the top there. So for me, it's not really an issue per se when it comes to like addressing equality problems, if we are not taking it like as a global problem, if it's just for like a certain class of people, if that makes sense. And as regards this discussion, I think for me to be like political inclusion for women, that's like one of the problems that we really face in Nigeria, where I come from. And I think it's even bad because from the statistic that I read, it's kind of reduced from the last election we had in during the last administration, the current administration, we had like about 28% representation, and it has even dropped like to around 10%, 15% thereabouts. So I think it's just questions a lot of things actually in terms of our advancement as a society, right? And looking at it also, honestly, the male factor is not really helping a lot of things also in a sense that, there's still a lot of men out there that believe that women should just be here. They should just be taking up roles of project managers and all of that. They should not be at the top of the table, if that makes sense. And it's something that for me, I've even gotten that comment, like personally, where someone will tell me, okay, this is where you fit into, you don't fit into this, class or position. So yeah, I think that's that.
All right, thank you very much. Unfortunately, I would have to end the discussion here. I have to be at a meeting at 4. So I want to take this opportunity to thank us all so much. I hope this session has been insightful. Please, as we go back, you realize that we have a lot of work to do. Both men and women, we all have to come together to support a worthy cause, to ensure that men are not left behind, boys are not left behind, girls are not left behind, women are not left behind. So I wish you all the best, and I hope that I'll meet us somewhere one day. You can get my contacts from Jasper, or let me type my email address here just in case somebody wants to reach out to me. But I want to thank you all for an insightful session. You have been very interactive, and I hope that this session has been useful. Thank you all so much.
Hi, Dr. Tina.
Yeah,
this is Rachel. Hi. I just wanted to thank you on behalf of all of us for, again, another insightful, interactive, captivating session as usual. And we just thank you. You've been, like you said, you've been with us since inception, and your delivery is always just one to talk about. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I liked your approach. I don't mean to keep you, but I like your approach of calling people out, because people we don't really hear from have such amazing submissions. It's incredible. I at first I was like, no, she's not doing that. But I mean, you see some of the submissions and they're so quiet. Guys, you need to speak up. You have a lot to say about the things that we're learning. And so once again, thank you, Dr. Tina. And thank you, everyone. And please, she's left her information there. You can always send her an email. You can reach out to us. We'll send it to you as well. All right. Okay. So have a good night, everyone. And thank you once again, Dr. Tina.